Here's a question for you. What do you do when you're part of a lead force advancing across the battlefield and you come up against a minefield? The answer? You call in the M1150 Assault Breacher Vehicle. The M1150 Assault Breacher Vehicle, or ABV for short, is a specialised engineering single vehicle platform that provides deliberate and in-stride breaching capability to clear obstacles on the battlefield and create safe paths for ground troops. Having proven itself in Afghanistan in late 2009 and early 2010, the vehicle formally entered service in the same year, and as of 2023, the Assault Breacher Vehicle program has delivered a total of 239 systems to the US Army and US Marine Corps. The ABV is operated as part of the Combined Arms Task Force and crewed by combat engineers. These task forces usually consist of regular gun tanks, infantry fighting vehicles and other wheeled vehicles, with the ABV designed for and designated with the role of physically breaking through or breaching the defences for these attacking forces. This role includes clearing pathways or safe lanes for troops and other vehicles through battlefields that are heavily saturated with mines or other obstacles that would otherwise impede friendly forces from taking a designated objective. Designed to provide crucial support to frontline armed forces during combat operations, this formidable vehicle is based on the battle-tested chassis of the M1A1 Abrams tank, which is known for its robustness and versatility. Interestingly, the hulls of the ABV were not specially constructed for the vehicle and were actually refurbished General Dynamics built hulls taken from Army surplus stocks. To reduce costs and construction time, the ABV also uses many components from the Abrams, not least the entire power pack and suspension systems, resulting in each vehicle costing around $3.7 million US. Unlike the Abrams tank, the ABV doesn't have a turret or a 120mm main gun, and in their place is an all-new armoured steel superstructure, which includes a command cupola up front, which grants a 180-degree arc of visibility for the commander. There is also additional rearward superstructure, which is designed to house equipment such as the ABV's mine-clearing line charge launchers, a lane marking system, and an advanced thermal imaging system. There is also storage on the side of the structure for spare track links, road wheels, sprocket wheel teeth, tow lines and other essential equipment. For self-protection, the ABV is armed with a 50 caliber Browning M2 heavy-barreled machine gun to provide close-in defensive capabilities against enemy threats. If you would like to know more about this venerable weapon, then you can watch my video on the history of the Browning 50 caliber machine gun. See the link in the description and at the end of this video. The 50 caliber machine gun forms part of a remote weapon station mounted on the commander's cupola and can elevate via powered or manual controls that allow it to be aimed and fired with an open hatch or buttoned up with the hatches closed and the crew inside. This defensive capability is supported by a bank of electrically operated grenade launchers, which are fitted to each side of the superstructure to cover the frontal arc of the ABV. In addition to its impressive 23.6-inch armour plating, explosive reactive armour blocks are also fitted to the vehicle to provide protection against rocket-propelled grenades and other high-explosive anti-tank warhead-based weapons. To further enhance survivability, the ABV is also equipped with smoke grenade launchers that can provide a defensive screen against enemy targeting. And although the ABV is heavily armoured and able to withstand mine damage, it also has a remote control option for some functions, allowing it to be operated from a distance without the crew on board. The ABV also features a system known as Duke, which is an electronic countermeasure system. This is a jammer that blocks signals to remote explosives or other devices to stop them being detonated by the enemy. You can spot Duke-equipped ABVs by the thick white antennas rising above the vehicles. Another departure from the tank on which the ABV is based is the crew size, with this halved from the 4-man crew on the Abrams to only 2 crew members on the ABV. These positions are commander and driver. To support its 2-man crew, the ABV has an integrated vision system that allows them to remain in the relative safety of its armoured all-welded steel structure. The advanced thermal siding technology provides vision in daylight and at night using infrared optics. An additional ball camera is also fitted with a laser rangefinder. This system allows the crew to retain visual, situational awareness at all times and aids in their protection, along with supporting vehicle survivability in combat situations. Overall, the ABV provides exceptional crew protection while allowing them to maintain full and effective operation of the vehicle. Other challenges, such as improvised explosive devices or IEDs, pose a significant threat to military convoys. The ABV's mine-clearing capabilities make it useful for counter-IED operations, reducing the risk of vehicle damage and casualties caused by roadside bombs. Fortunately for its crews, the ABV can clear a route faster than dismounted patrols because it doesn't actually have to find things such as IEDs. All it has to do is run through them. This keeps the engineers safer inside of the armoured vehicle and speeds up the process almost tenfold. It's impressive stuff. Weighing in at 55 tons, the ABV is no Mini Cooper, but maintains a high degree of mobility that allows it to keep up with rolling units and an ever-manoeuvring force. The ABV's speed and performance is attributed to the fact that its chassis and capability is very similar to the Abrams tank in terms of size, weight, speed, and range, and is specifically designed for deployment in combat scenarios where manoeuvring through obstacles and hazardous terrain is a critical challenge. As a result, the ABV is well equipped to play its crucial role in providing essential support to military forces during offensive and defensive operations. Its ability to rapidly clear obstacles and create safe passages for other armoured vehicles and infantry to advance securely makes it an invaluable asset on the battlefield. The ABV can perform a number of essential tasks on the battlefield and is equipped with a variety of specialised equipment, including a high lift adapter, which provides an increased front approach angle to the vehicle and allows for the fitting and removal of the full suite of ABV front-end equipment and subsystems. The high lift adapter also includes an integral hydraulic jettison system should any mounted equipment need to be quickly removed in case of an emergency. The suite of systems on the ABV include the mine plough, dozer blade, ordnance removal charges, and lane marking systems. All of this equipment is interchangeable and can be rapidly fitted or removed to fit mission requirements. The plough, or to use its full name, the full-width mine plough, or FWMP, is 15 feet wide and supported by metal skids that glide on the dirt. Full width means that the plough spans and clears a path beyond the width of the ABV. The plough is usually brought into operation after deployment and detonation of the line charge, which we'll discuss shortly. In less explosive saturated areas, it can also be used independently. The plough can also be used to construct hasty earthworks for cover or to barrel through enemy obstacles and swiftly clear a lane for others to follow by pushing aside mines and other objects in its path. The plough can be rapidly replaced by the Combat Dozer Blade, or CDB. This piece of equipment enables the ABV to perform a number of tasks, including carving out hull-down positions for gun tanks, digging gun emplacements, route denial, such as creating and filling anti-tank ditches, and improving bridge approaches. It can also be used aggressively to push barricades or debris from the path of attacking allies, and even clear inert, unexploded ordnance. A fun fact is, named after the famous villain from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, when the Mindplow was equipped, the ABV is referred to as the Shredder. Continuing the naming theme, when the Dozer Blade is equipped, the ABV is simply known as Blade. These, of course, are not official names and were likely coined by their operators, but still, they seem quite fitting when you look at the vehicle. Let me know in the comments what you think. Setting aside the enemies of the turtles and vampires, when it's really getting down to business, the most powerful pieces of mine-clearing equipment on the ABV are its two line charge launchers. The M58A3 Mine Clearing Line Charge, or MICLIC, is used to clear large areas of explosive devices or blast a path through obstacles. The M58 comes packed in a large armoured crate that is carried within the rear of the ABV, with the launchers located under protective shields at the rear left and right corners of the superstructure. For firing, the shields raise up via hydraulic rams, and the rocket-propelled charge is fired forwards over the front of the ABV. The particular rocket and line charge used is the 5-inch Mark 22 Mod 4 rocket, trailing the M58 line charge. Interestingly, the M58 is sometimes referred to as the sausage link, so called because it looks like a string of linked sausages. The line is attached to the rocket via a nylon rope and can be fired at a distance of 100 to 150 yards. To put this into perspective, that's 50 yards longer than an American football pitch. Setting aside the nylon rope used to pull it through the air, the explosive line itself is 350 feet long and contains 5 pounds per foot of C4 explosives. That's 1,750 pounds per line, and the ABV carries 2 of them. With a combined total of 3,500 pounds of explosives, this is the same weight as a Toyota Camry. When detonated, the charge can clear a lane 110 yards long and 9 yards wide, and as you can imagine, when these explosive charges are detonated, they go with quite a bit of a pop. In fact, according to an interview with the crews, one of them was quoted as saying that when the line detonates, it sends a pressure wave inside the cabin. It feels like someone is walking up to you and shoving you backwards. You definitely wouldn't want to be near that when it goes off. Once fired, the launchers can be reloaded. However, due to their size and weight, loading and removing these crates can only be done via crane, and this role is usually fulfilled by the M985 A1R heavily expanded mobility truck, or Dragon Wagon as it's nicknamed. In either case, after detonation of the mine-clearing line charge, the ABV will then move into the target area to proof the lane with its full-width mine plough, while simultaneously marking the cleared lane with its line marking system. The lane marking system provides visual cues for friendly forces to follow through challenging terrains, reducing the risk of disorientation and friendly fire. The system utilises a dispenser unit mounted at the rear on each side of the ABV that enables marker poles to be fired pneumatically, either manually or automatically, into a variety of surfaces from sand and soil to asphalt and concrete at either timed or distance-based intervals to clearly mark out hazardous areas such as the edges of a minefield breached lane. 50 darts are held in the dispensers, with each dart being 3.2 feet long. The darts have high visibility flags attached to the end, but they can be replaced with fluorescent, reflective or LED enhanced poles. The result is a clear path for ground forces to pass through dangerous areas safely and move on to their next objective. Setting aside its impressive array of equipment and clearing capabilities, let's take a deeper look at the ABV itself. Without equipment, the vehicle is 26 feet long by 12 feet wide and 9.5 feet high. As mentioned earlier, it weighs in at 55 tons, and so, to put that into perspective, that's 31.5 of those sexy Toyota Camrys. For propulsion, as with the Abrams tank on which it is based, the ABV is powered by the same 1,500 horsepower Honeywell AGT 1500C gas turbine engine, which is mated to a 6-speed, 4 forward, 2 reverse, Allison X 1100 3B hydrokinetic automatic transmission. It has to be said that if these guys were using shorter names for their equipment, it sure would make my life a lot easier. Regardless, this setup allows the ABV to achieve an impressive top speed of 40 miles per hour on paved roads and 30 miles per hour across country, with a range of up to 310 miles. Just as impressive is the fueling options on the ABV, which is multi-fuel, meaning that although it is optimised to run on jet fuel, yes, jet fuel, it is actually made to run on a variety of other fuel types, including diesel, gasoline, marine diesel, and even JP8 kerosene. This reduces the chances of the ABV running out of fuel when it is operating close to or beyond the battlefront and away from reliable supply lines. Furthermore, the servicing intervals on the ABV's gas turbine engine are significantly longer than that of diesel engines, meaning larger gaps between servicing and more time in operation. Also, if the engine does fail at any stage, it is set up for quick removal, which means that it can be replaced in field conditions within around 30 minutes. Despite its array of advanced equipment, the arms race never ends, and as a result, the ABV systems do not guarantee clearance of all types of mines. For example, some modern anti-tank or anti-personnel mines are blast resistant with a fuse which is designed to be insensitive to the shockwave from a nearby explosion and will only detonate when gradual and constant pressure is applied, such as when an enemy vehicle is driving over it. This feature makes it difficult or impossible to clear such mines using explosive minefield breaching techniques, as the mines are also designed to survive any such explosion. As a result, the process of clearing certain minefields can still be slow and complex. So, outside of the ABV, what else is out there in the world today doing a similar job? Well, setting aside mine-clearing implements that can be attached to tanks and other vehicles, it probably comes as no surprise that there are actually some other dedicated vehicles similar to the ABV that are used by other countries. Some examples are the Kyla mine flail, Kyla meaning boar, also known as the Tuska mine-clearing vehicle, was developed by Rheinmetall in Germany to meet the requirements of the German army. It's a conversion of the United States M48 pattern medium tank chassis in combination with a German MTU liquid-cooled turbocharged diesel engine. Another vehicle, the AEV-3, nicknamed Kodiak, is an armoured engineering vehicle based on the Leopard 2 medium battle tank chassis and powered by an MTU V12 twin-turbo diesel engine. It is used by Switzerland, Sweden, the Netherlands, Singapore and Germany. Over in the UK, the Trojan Armoured Engineer Vehicle is a combat engineering vehicle of the British Army. It is used to breach minefields and for many other tasks. Based on a Challenger 2 tank chassis and powered by a Perkins CV12 8A diesel, it is currently in use with the Royal Engineers. Meanwhile, the Patria heavy mine breaching vehicle was developed in Finland to meet the operational requirements of Finnish defence forces. This vehicle, sometimes referred to as the Leopard 2R, is now used in Ukraine after Finland donated their entire stock of vehicles to them in 2023. Another interesting fact is the company that manufactures the complete suite of mine-clearing equipment for the ABV, UK-based Pearson Engineering, also supplies the mine-clearing equipment for the Kodiak, the Patria, and Trojan vehicles. Another vehicle still seen in action is the somewhat dated UR-77 Meteorit, or Meteorite, which is a Soviet-era mine-clearing vehicle that is currently in active service with Ukraine as well as Russia. Back in the United States, despite the ABV's prowess on the battlefield since its introduction in 2010, other than its use by the US Army and US Marine Corps, it had not been sold to any other nations. However, this changed in April 2021 when the US Department of State approved the sale of 29 ABVs to Australia, where they will be operated by the Australian Army. The first vehicles are expected to reach Australia in 2024, with the project expected to achieve initial operating capability in 2025. There has also been call for the US to supply a number of ABVs to Ukraine to help in the current conflict against the invading Russian aggressors. Nothing has happened yet, and so it'll be interesting to see how this one unfolds. So, setting aside the chance of action in Ukraine, what does the future hold for the ABV? Well, in 2019, the US Army unveiled plans to test and transform the ABV into an unmanned remote control armoured vehicle to breach even the most complex minefields and obstacles. The idea being to take the crew out of the vehicle and still push that vehicle through the lane, creating mobility for follow-on forces. The remotely operated ABV will be operated by only one person in either a mobile command or fixed remote control centre. These tests continued in 2022, and the US Army stated that the project was expected to pass through preliminary design review in 2023, with the delivery of the first prototype scheduled for the second quarter of 2024. In the age of autonomous vehicles, it seemed inevitable that it would become a reality for the ABV, and this was confirmed when it was recently announced that a production contract for the ABV remote control system is expected to be awarded at the end of 2025. It's unclear as to when the remote control system will formally enter service, or what other upgrades and equipment will be implemented for the vehicle in the future. Regardless, as it stands at the moment, the M1150 Assault Breacher Vehicle remains one of the most advanced vehicles of its kind in the world. It has proven itself to be an invaluable asset in combat engineering, ensuring that military forces can navigate safely through complex and hazardous terrains with a distinct advantage in overcoming enemy obstacles and fortifications. The ABV's versatility and ability to clear paths swiftly make it an essential asset in military operations, and, based on its performance to date, it's likely that it will continue to serve long into the future. Thanks for watching. That concludes today's episode on the M1150 Assault Breacher Vehicle. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos to come. As we bid an explosive farewell today, remember to stay adventurous, stay curious, and keep exploring with Air, Land, Marine.